Hello again, students. I hope you guys are well. I'm putting up together a second video just to go through days 3 and 4 of next week to keep you apprised with your work. Again, everybody should have gotten an instruction sheet either on Schoology or a hard copy that was available to pick up at the schools. This week, what we're going to be working on, these 2 days of this week, what we're going to be working on is continuing the identity poetry project that we started before we went on spring break. If you have forgotten about this or you were absent on Friday before we went on to break, please do not stress. It is something that you can still start, and we'll get you guys caught back up when we come back to class. So basically what we've been doing, or what we started doing, is we are working with identity. What makes you who you are, what you think about, how others think about you, anything about your identity at all. And so we've chosen 4 poems. And I'm going to show them to you on here so you can see the structure, and we're going to read through them. I'm going to read them to you real quick on here. You're going to choose one to be your mentor poem. And what I mean by that is you're going to write your own original poem, but your poem is going to mimic the structure of the poem that you've chosen. So for example, our first poem is called Playground Elegy by Clint Smith. You'll notice that the way that he wrote this is it is not straight justified, okay? If you choose this poem to be your mentor text, you're gonna have the same number of lines and the same structure for your poem. The second poem that we're gonna look at is written like this: 4 stanzas of 5 lines, and they're one left justified, right, left, right. You're gonna do the same thing. So the mentor text is just there to give you a guide for how you want your poem to look. Okay, your poem can be about anything related to you as a person. Okay, so again, if you have any questions about this, we did go over this and give instructions about it before we went on break, but send us a message on Schoology and we will help you. Okay, you're going to title your poem. You're going to write it, a rough draft just on paper. You can revise it if you have time. That's great. The only thing that we ask is, after you've given your poem a title, on the next line, you're going to put after, and you're going to include the title and the poet of the poem that you chose as your mentor text. Okay, so we're going to very quickly read through these poems, and I'm going to show them to you on here so you guys can kind of see what they look like, although you will have copies on Schoology and digital. So the first poem is called Playground Elegy by Clint Smith, and it says, "The first time I slid down a slide, my mother told me to hold my hands in toward the sky, something about gravity, weight distribution, and feeling the air ripple through your fingers. I remember reaching the bottom, smile consuming half of my face, hands still in the air because I didn't want it to stop. Ever since, this defiance of gravity has always been synonymous with feeling alive. When I read of the new child, his body strewn across the street, a casket of bones and concrete, I wonder how many times he slid down the slide, how many times he defied gravity to answer a question in class. Did he raise his hand for all of them? Does my mother regret this? That she raised a black boy growing up to think that raised hands make me feel more alive? That raised hands meant I was alive? That raised hands meant I would live?" Okay, so again, this is our first poem. You can see the structure here. So if you choose this one to be your mentor poem, you're going to mimic the structure here. Okay. The second poem that you're going to have to choose from is by Jacqueline Woodson, and it's called Other People's Memory. This poem is a little bit longer, okay? But we have short stanzas and longer stanzas, 1-word lines, multiple word lines, okay? So this is what it's called, Other People's Memory. "You were born in the morning," Grandma Georgiana said. "I remember the sound of the birds. Mean old blue jays squawking. They like to fight, you know. Don't mess with blue jays. I hear they can kill a cat if they get mad enough." And then the phone was ringing. Through all the static and squawking, I heard your mama telling me you'd come. Another girl, I stood there thinking, so close to the first one, just like your mama and Caroline. Not even a year between them, and so close you could hardly tell where one ended and the other one started. And that's how I know you came in the morning. That's how I remember. You came late in the afternoon," my mother said, 2 days after I turned 22. Your father was at work, took a rush hour bus trying to get to you, but by the time he arrived, you were already here. He missed the moment, my mother said, but what else is new? You're the one that was born near night, my father says. When I saw you, I said, she's the unlucky one, comes right out looking just like her daddy. He laughs. Right off the bat, I told your mama, we're going to call this one after me. My time of birth wasn't listed on the certificate, then got lost again amid other people's bad memory. by Jacqueline Woodson. And again, this one's a little bit longer, different structure, short lines, long lines, if you choose to use this one, okay? Your third poem choice is gonna be How to Fight by Clint Smith. This is the poem that has the 4 stanzas of 5 lines, alternating sides, okay? This is called How to Fight. My favorite part of class was always the spelling bee. One by one, children would slip on syllables until there were only a few of us left. We weren't allowed to write anything down as we stood in front of the class, so I used my fingers to trace an outline in the air of words Mrs. Roberts read from her blue dictionary. We didn't say certain words in my home because we were told they could hurt people, but words were the only way I ever knew how to fight. Spelling bees were a battleground where teachers trained me to wield language as a tool and fist and weapon and warning to those who would rather make an outline out of me. So again, Clint Smith, How to Fight, 4 stanzas of 5 lines each, okay? Your last poem is by Jose Olivares, and this is an interview with another author that we looked at before we went on break, Safia El Hillo. You'll notice, and I know it's kind of hard to see here, you'll notice that this poem is repeated questions, the same question repeated 7 times by an interviewer, and the answer changes as the poem progresses. Okay, so this is the last one. It's called Interview. Where is your home? In my parents' new house, there is room for everyone except me. Where is your home? I went to Mexico and no one recognized me. Where is your home? I went to Mexico and everyone was my cousin. The radio played Jose Jose straight from my mom's mixtapes. Where are you from? My cousins ask, and I point at the radio. Where is your home? It took me 3 years to hang art in my Bronx apartment. Soon after, I started getting tattoos. There, I said, I'm all moved in now. Where is your home? Riding down Lakeshore Drive, listening to GCI, all the songs I was given slapped through the car like the lake slaps the shore. Where is your home? It took me 3 days to take down my art and move out of the Bronx. Is leaving always easier than arriving? Where is your home? The house I grew up in was foreclosed. There is a small note taped to the door. I still have the key, but the key opens nothing. By Jose Olivares. So again, this is our interview, okay? So of those 4 poems, which we did condense down, remember, if you remember before break, we were having 10. We're going to do that so you don't get overwhelmed with work. Of those 4 poems that you guys have in your package, you're going to choose one to use as your mentor text. You're going to write a poem about some aspect of your identity, rough draft, give it a title, and make sure you identify that this is after How to Fight by Clint Smith or after Interview by Jose Olivares, whichever one you choose, okay? That's going to be day 3, okay? On the last day of this coming week, again, the instructions are bulleted out for you. You're going to look at your mentor poem and your after poem that you've written and write a short reflection, okay? And there's a couple of questions that we want you to respond to. About a page, journal style. Don't worry about paragraphs unless you just want to, okay? We want to know what made you choose the specific poem that you chose. Was it the length? Was it the structure? Did you just like something? Whatever it is. Okay, what do you think the poet was trying to get his or her audience to feel? Why do you think they wrote this? Were they effective? Did you feel what they wanted you to feel? You're going to identify a section of the poem, a phrase, a line, a couple of lines, whatever you think really spoke to you. And you're going to tell us where those lines were and what was going through your mind when you read them. What connection did you feel, etc. Okay. Then you're going to talk a little bit about the poem that you wrote yourself. How would you explain it? If you read this poem at a coffee house or during a slam poetry workshop and somebody asked you, well, why did you write this? What do you want me to understand? What would you say to them? Okay. I want you to tell me, what do you want the audience to understand about you as a person? Okay. What are you trying to talk about? Your mental health, about where you want to be, your goals, who you used to be, your family, etc. Okay, and the last thing that we want you to think about is if you look back on this poem that you wrote, okay, you guys are in high school, you're on the cusp of graduating, going on to college, to the next step of your life. If you looked back at this poem in 10 or 20 years as a grown-up you, how do you think you will have changed? And what would you say to the person that you are now? Okay, so this is going to be the work that you guys are going to be doing for this second week. We hope that we can see you guys soon, but we're here. And again, we don't have the answers for everything, but please reach out and we'll try to help you. And this is digital and available hard copy. If you aren't sure how to do something, just send us a message. Hope you guys are well. Bye.